right, here we go. So good morning. As you can see, I am at my house, not at the studio today because it is Pride in New Hope. And the parade goes right through Lambertville in front of the studio, which hopefully is a lot of fun, even despite the weather. And so here I am because parking and getting to the studio is an issue. So thinking about the weekend of Pride and what that means to the LGBTQ community is really this notion of inclusivity. And I think back to my lifetime, I'm 41 now, and how far we've come in that regard in being more inclusive of all people in our culture and society, and how far we still have to go. And that's not just for, it's really in all regards, even when you think about how limited accessibility is for people who aren't able-bodied. There's so much to it. And I think that this practice of inclusivity really has to start with ourselves. And it's so easy to be exclusive of parts of who we are. I think it's a really challenging practice to be completely inclusive of all parts of yourself. And this is really the theme and notion behind shadow work, is to embrace and honor and shine a light on the parts of ourselves that are difficult for us to embrace, for us to love, for us to show the world. And so if we can practice this idea of being inclusive to who we are, then we can extend that out to others. And this is really the premise behind yoga, behind the idea of union and yoking. It's bringing together all facets of who we are, not just our mind and our body and our breath as we move, and not just weaving in the connection to the divine with this present version of our mundane reality, but it's also to hold space for ourselves to welcome all parts of who we are. And one more quick thing before we get moving. So I actually have been suffering this tendinitis, let's call it, in my left side, because my daughter my youngest is really, really clingy right now. She's got a lot going on with teething and with this developmental phase, and she doesn't want to be put down, and she's really heavy, and I carry her on the same side. And so I've been in some physical pain this week. And when we have pain, whether it's physical, whether it's mental or emotional, it's the natural reaction, I think, is to want to separate ourselves from it, right? We don't want to experience it. It hurts. It's uncomfortable. We want it to change and go away and be different. And this is really a metaphor for the shadow work as a whole, is can we, instead of denying and wanting to separate and shut out the parts of ourselves that are painful, can we instead include that, lean into it and embrace it and allow it to have space? And then does it change our relationship to it? Do we heal maybe a little bit faster when we do that? So let's take a comfortable seat and sit up nice and tall. And as you breathe in, lengthen up your spine, take your shoulders up, back, and down. And take a moment here to welcome your breath. Here, can we practice including the breath, which is this autonomic bodily function that we don't have to think about in order to do. But what happens when we do, when we bring our awareness to the breath and we exercise control over it? and allow our awareness to center on the breath. When we include this bodily function as part of our being, it becomes so much more powerful. And then allow your hips and your legs, your lower body to get heavy on your mat. Keep that grounded energy, but lengthen up through your spine. Relax your tongue in your mouth. Soften the muscles of your face. And check in to see what parts of yourself need more inclusivity. Are there areas of your body where there's physical pain? Or perhaps you can honor some emotional pain. It could be from your past that you still carry. Can you allow that to be a part of you? Honoring and holding the space for all parts of yourself. And then can you extend this practice out to others, to your family and friends and the people that you find it easy to love? And then the more challenging practice is to extend that same acceptance to those who differ from us, whose mentality and thought we find limited and we don't understand or relate to. And we don't have to agree, but can we simply honor them on their human experience and journey? And notice if energetically anything changes when we try to do this, when we extend out this energy of acceptance and love. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today, and it could simply be to allow your practice to be a celebration in honor of those who are living their authentic lives out in the world, regardless of what others might think. And this practice of embracing all parts of ourselves and including those parts that we find more difficult to accept and love about who we are. And let's begin our class and seal in our intentions with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in and let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. And then gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes, release your hands, and then please make your way to all fours, setting yourself up in a tabletop position. Have your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips or slightly behind. You can tuck your toes. And then as you inhale, begin to gently arch your spine, taking your gaze up. And as you exhale, Begin to round your back, lengthening the tailbone down, drawing your belly in, bring your chin to your chest. Flow through a few rounds here of cat-cow. So we begin to practice this inclusivity with our own bodies, especially as our body changes and ages, and all of a sudden things ache where they didn't used to, and maybe are never going to be the same as they once were. And can we welcome that? Can we welcome the aging process, or the, what brought our bodies to these points? The experience behind it. After having 2 babies, my body will never be the same. And that's okay. And so can we adjust our expectations of ourselves and welcome the change instead of resisting it or wishing it was different? Not to say that we don't give ourselves the space and the tools and resources to heal in the best way that we can, but that we simply allow for ourselves to have our present experience. Come back to a neutral spine, and then draw your low belly in so that you're toning your abdominal wall. Soften right behind your heart so that the shoulder blades are drawing onto the back. Reach out through the crown of your head, and then extend your right leg back with your toes tucked under and press out through your right heel. So you get a stretch down the back of the right leg. Keep reaching out through the crown of your head. Good, and then you'll pivot your back foot so that your heel comes down. And we'll come into a modified Vashisthasana, bringing all the weight into your left hand and reaching your right arm up. So really working on core and balance here. Keep drawing the low belly in. Exhale and release. We'll go ahead and switch sides. So right knee comes down, extend your left leg back, tuck your left toes under, press out through your left heel, draw your low belly in, keep the shoulder blades on the back of the heart, reach out through the crown of your head. So you feel this isometric action of pressing out through the heel, while at the same time you extend out through the crown of the head, with pulling the ends of the body in 2 different directions, and you breathe. And then you'll go ahead and pivot your left heel down, bring all the weight into your right hand. The eye of the right elbow can roll forward. And then when you're ready, you very gently lift the left arm up. Notice if balance is easy today or more challenging. And then exhale, release. Take the knees wide, big toes together, send your hips back to your heels, find child pose for a few breaths. And then inhale, come back up to all fours. We'll extend the right leg again. This time, extend it out straight back behind you with your toes pointing down towards the ground. See if you could keep your hips level towards the earth without lifting that right hip up. Hug the leg in towards the midline of the body. And when you're ready, see if you could float your left arm up in line with your ear. Take an inhale and lengthen, and as you exhale, bend your knee and your elbow in as you round your back, and then inhale, extend back out. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, lengthen out. Few more. One more. And when you inhale and lengthen, hold for one moment. Exhale, release. And go ahead and switch sides. If you need to pad your knees, if they're feeling sensitive, you can take the time to do that. And then extend your left leg straight out behind you. Toes point down, hips stay level towards the earth. Keep that. Inhale, float your right arm up in line with your ear. Press out through your left heel, extend out through your right fingertips. Inhale, get a little longer. Exhale, bend your knee and your elbow in as you round. And inhale, extend back out. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, extend. Few more. Last one. Go ahead and release and find child's pose once again. From child's pose, walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through your left side body. Inhale back through center. Exhale, walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through your right side body. Inhale back through center. And then make your way into downward facing dog. Press your hands into your mat, lengthen through your spine, send your sitting bones and your hips up towards the sky. Then inhale, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale as you bow, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale as you fold. One more. Then press into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. And exhale, step back into downward facing dog. If you have blocks, bring them to the top of your mat. And if not, you might want to find something else that's like a yoga block, like a book that you could use or something that would be steady under your hands. And then from here, come back into down dog. Right leg lifts as you inhale. Lunge it forward as you exhale. Take your time to get your foot all the way up so that the right knee is over the right ankle. Press your left thigh up towards the sky and hug your legs in towards each other. Reach out through the crown of your head. Here's where you can come up onto blocks underneath your hands. Just a few breaths here. And then as you inhale, you'll straighten your front leg and exhale, bend your knee. Little pulse here. Inhale, straighten, exhale, bend. This is why the blocks are nice, because sometimes you need a lot of room here if you have tight hamstrings. One more. And as you bend your right knee, keep it there. Hug your legs in towards each other. And when you're ready, see if you could reach your arms up. Here, interlace your fingers and steeple your index fingers. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, take a little side stretch over to the right. Inhale back up through center. Exhale, release. Slowly make your way back into downward facing dog. And move through a vinyasa here at your own pace. Inhale, come forward to a high plank. Exhale to lower. Inhale up into cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts as you inhale. Lunge it forward as you exhale. Hug your legs in towards each other. Press your feet down into the ground. Reach out through the crown of your head. Take a few breaths here in your high lunge. You can come up onto blocks now to give yourself a little more room. And then same pulsation here as you inhale, straighten your left leg, and exhale, bend your knee. Move with your breath. And then the next time you bend your knee, pause there. Reground through your legs, through your feet until you feel stable enough to inhale and take your arms up. Interlace your fingers, steeple your index fingers, and then a little side stretch over to the left. Inhale back through center, exhale, release, downward facing dog, move through a vinyasa or stay in dog. You can always take a moment and pause in child's pose. From down dog, take your right leg up as you inhale, Lunge it forward as you exhale. Pivot your back heel down this time, and then cartwheel your arms up into warrior two. Take a moment to center yourself in warrior two. Then flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Back hand gently comes to rest on your back thigh. Lean out and lengthen out of your pelvis. And then press into your right foot. Inhale, straighten your right leg. Keep leaning back. Inhale, bring your arms up to a T. Exhale, reach your right fingertips forward and find Trikonasana, triangle pose. You can use a block under your right hand, outside of the right shin. Little bend into your right knee. Exhale, cartwheel your arms down. Pivot your back heel up. Downward facing dog. Another option here to flow through vinyasa, to stay in downward facing dog, or to take a pause in child's pose. Left leg lifts as you inhale in down dog. Exhale, lunge it forward up in between your hands. Pivot your back heel down. Cartwheel your arms up, warrior two. Take a few breaths in warrior two. Then flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. Press into your front foot, straighten your left leg, keep leaning back. Then inhale, float your arms up to a T. Exhale, reach your left fingers forward. Find Trikonasana on the second side. Little bend into your left knee. Exhale, cartwheel your arms down, pivot your back heel up, make your way into downward facing dog. Same option here. This time we'll all meet in child's pose. See if here you can relax your tongue in your mouth and relax your jaw. And then inhale, walk your hands in. So here, we're going to use some props if you have them available. If you have, and we're going to do two poses, but if you only have the props for one, then you can just stay in that for a longer period of time. So there are two heart opening poses, and the first requires a blanket or a towel or something like that that you could roll, and the second requires blocks. So either of those or both is even better. And so if you have a blanket, you're going to open that up and fold it in half so it looks like a rectangle, and then just roll that up. So you're making a long blanket roll noodle, let's say. And then you'll take that and place it across your mat. So this is a supported fish pose, where supported heart opener, where you'll take this blanket and it's going to come right behind the back of your heart, behind your rib cage, and underneath your arms when your arms are in cactus. So I'm going to sit with your knees bent and your feet on the ground, and then lower yourself down so that that part of your body is supported by the blanket. Bring your arms down to the ground. Your shoulders will relax towards the ground. They don't have to touch. And then you can decide what to do with your legs. You could keep your knees bent with your feet on the ground. You could extend your legs straight out. You could bring the soles of your feet together, your knees wide. And then wherever you are, see if you could relax into the pose a little bit more. And I should mention that if you don't have a blanket or a towel, that you could just come right into heart bench with 2 blocks, which will be our next pose. So I was thinking this week, as my husband and I were navigating the tumultuous waves of parenting, I was thinking about the different reactions and responses that we have to pain. So it's very easy to have sympathy and empathy, compassion, and a caring response when we see someone who is in physical pain, has been injured. For instance, if you have a young child in your life who falls and skins their knee, our response to that is very caring, like, oh, let's comfort and tend to the wound and bandage it to allow it to support the healing process. Versus our response when we see someone who's in emotional pain, who's suffering with mental illness, and our tendency is to maybe look away or not know how to respond or to deal with it. With parenting, this is like when a young child has a tantrum. Can you respond to them when they're in that state of emotional distress in the same way you would if they had fallen and skinned their knee? How difficult is this to apply in our lives to others that we see suffering, or to ourselves? How compassionate are we to ourselves when we're in pain? Whether that's physically or whether we've suffered a heartbreak, grief. There's pain of the body, there's pain of the heart, there's pain of the mind when we're dealing with anxiety, depression, mental illness, suffering, negative thought patterns. So here, can we be a little more inclusive of our entire experience, of all parts of ourselves, the light and the dark, here in the safety of our mat? Yoga asks us to hold these poses and welcome in the discomfort of the physical shape. Welcome in the discomfort of the thinking mind. Welcome in the discomfort of our emotions, our difficult feelings. And to yoke them into one experience. And it's through that we can connect to the divine, to find that samadhi and bliss, to find wholeness, oneness. We'll slowly start to come out of this pose. You could inhale and bring your legs back up to knees bent, feet on the ground position if they're not there already. And then you'll slowly and gently roll to your side and give yourself a moment to pause here. You could be on the blanket or you could move it out of the way. And then from here, gently make your way up to find your blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you could just stay with your blanket. Otherwise, we'll come into heart bench. So one block goes at its medium height vertically on your mat, and the other comes to its highest setting to catch your head. Same concept here, where you'll lengthen the spine, lower yourself down so that the block behind your back is on your thoracic spine, on the rib cage. It's not so low that it's in the lumbar region, and it's not so high that it's into your cervical spine, just right up the spine in between the shoulder blades. Second block catches your head. If this is too high, you can adjust the height of the blocks to find a more comfortable setting. And then here, do a different shape with your legs. So again, you could extend the legs straight out, soles of the feet together, knees wide. You could take your feet wide with your knees knocked in. And then welcome your breath. Relax the body. Soften your jaw, unclench any of those muscles that might be gripping. Widen the corners of your eyes and let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. So the more pain we experience in life, the more we push it away, push it aside, shun it, repress it, the more we armor our hearts. And these poses ask us to begin to strip away that armor, begin to peel away those layers, and allow our heart centers to be more open and vulnerable. And we lay down that armor, even if it's just for the rest of this pose. Just another minute here. And then slowly start to deepen your breath. Bring your legs back up to center. Slowly make your way off of your blocks. Come to pause, curl up on your side. Then come onto your back, have a block nearby. Bring the soles of your feet down onto your mat, knees up. Walk your feet in until your shins are vertical. So you're setting up for bridge pose here. Lengthen the sides of the body. You can inhale, reach the arms overhead to assist in that lengthening process. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows by your sides, fingertips up towards the sky. Press your arm bones down into the mat. Feel the bridge start to happen as your spine peels away from the earth. And then root into your feet and inhale, lift your hips. Take your block and place it underneath your sacrum at whatever height is most appropriate for your body. And then your arms can come down by your sides with your palms face up. Call back your awareness to your intention again. Practicing being inclusive of yourself. And then you could stay just like this. Or you could bend your right knee in towards your body and extend your right leg straight up towards the sky. You can either bring your right foot down and switch sides, Or you could take your left knee in and extend your left leg up to meet your right. And then 1 foot at a time, you can come back down. Once your feet are firmly planted on the ground, inhale, lift your hips, move your block off to the side, lower your pelvis back down. Bring the soles of your feet together, your knees wide, one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Inhale your knees back up to center. Take your arms out to the side, either in a T or in cactus. Press down into your feet, pick up your hips, move them an inch to the left and drop them back down. Exhale, take your knees to the right, gaze out over your left shoulder. Inhale, knees back to center. Move your hips 2 inches over to the right. Exhale, knees to the left. Gaze out over the right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Hug your knees into your chest. You can give yourself a little massage here on your low back. Making circles in one direction and then the other. And then roll to your right side. Make your way all the way back up to sit. Extend your right leg out. Bring your left foot to your inner right thigh. Bring your hands to frame your right leg, sit them nice and tall. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, bow over your right leg. Every inhale, find a little more length in your spine, and every exhale, fold. Inhale to rise. Switch sides, extend your left leg. Bring your right foot to your inner left side. Bring your hands to frame your left leg. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, fold. Inhale to rise. You'll come to sit up on the edge of a blanket. You could use your blocks for this. You'll take your legs wide for Upavishta Konasana. Move the flesh away from the sitting bones. Use the edge of the blanket to help tilt your pelvis forward. And then you could bring the blocks out in front of you to rest your forearms on here. With every inhale, find length. With every exhale, bow in a little more deeply. And here you want a little natural curve in the lumbar spine. You want to be able to tilt the pelvis forward for the sitting bones to roll forward on the sitting bones, and for the tailbone to move backwards, the pubic bone to move backwards. And if that's not accessible in your body, then you could stay upright on your hands and your fingertips behind you and just kind of work towards finding that before folding forward. So oftentimes, I mean, unless you're just born really, really naturally flexible and naturally strong, a big part of our yoga practice is accepting and honoring the limitations of our body, including those as something that we have some reverence for, right? Instead of pushing ourselves to the point of injury to try to force ourselves into a shape that doesn't serve us. A lesson that most yogis learn the hard way. Take a few more breaths and see what you could soften and release, what you could relax. Inhale, come all the way up. Bring your hands to the backs of your thighs. Draw your legs in. Bring the soles of your feet together, your knees wide. Sit up nice and tall. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, fold forward. Bow over your legs. Inhale, come on out. Bring your hands to the backs of the thighs, draw your knees up to center. Make your way onto your back for Shavasana. Setting up with whatever props you have that can best support you so that you could be as comfortable as possible. Lay down on your back and let your feet gently open to the sides. Have your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. Take a full breath in, a complete breath out, and give yourself permission here to fully let go. To release any of the lingering pain in your body, in your mind, in your heart. Any weight that you've been carrying, grief, burden of responsibility, any stress, patterns of overthinking. Let it all go. Release it to the earth and ask that the energy be regenerated, rejuvenated into something new. And give yourself permission to put all of that weight down, even if it's just for the next few minutes, and to hold space for all parts of yourself as you fully relax and surrender into Shavasana. And very gently And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Draw awareness back into your body as you wiggle your fingers, your toes. Start to move and stretch in any way that feels best on your body. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, take a full body stretch. Exhale, hug your knees in. Gently roll to the right and use the strength of your arms to press yourself up to find a seated position. Once you arrive in a comfortable seat, close your eyes and bring your hands together in front of your heart. Call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class and honor it here. Take another moment to honor all parts of yourself, to honor yourself for your yoga practice, to extend the same acceptance out to others, and to practice this innate unconditional love that is inclusivity. Let's end our class and seal in our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for your practice and for being here today. It was really wonderful to be with you. And we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Erin.
Thanks so much, Debbie. Have a great day.
You as well. Take care.